Welcome to Tarot's Landing, a place where we explore tarot old and new, the stories we inherit and the ones we're brave enough to rewrite. Before we begin, a gentle reminder. Not every reading is for everyone. If what I'm saying feels like it's speaking directly to you, you're in the right place. Welcome. And if, as we go, you feel the message drifting away from you, that's not a failure or a sign you missed something. It simply means this one may not be yours. We'll be here, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Now, as I tune in, the feeling I'm getting is a threshold, something that's been held back by timing, by caution, maybe even by your own careful hands, feels close to opening. There's a quiet kind of change in the air, not loud, not performative, but undeniable. I also sense that whatever comes through wants honesty and steadiness, less forcing, more readiness. We'll look at what's returning, what's ready to bloom, and what needs to be held with firmer boundaries so it can actually last. Take a breath. Let's begin. Alright, so this first card is Open Vault, and immediately this feels like the heart of the threshold I was sensing in the introduction. This is a card of something finally becoming available to you. Not because you forced it, not because you chased it down harder, but because the timing is shifting. For many of you, this can point to delayed abundance, money, support, recognition, an opportunity, a conversation, even emotional availability that was not denied, just held back until it could actually serve you well. What I really love here is that this card doesn't feel flashy. It feels like relief, like, oh, now I'm allowed to receive this. And that's important because some of you have been in survival mode for so long that receiving can feel almost as uncomfortable as lacking. So this card asks, can you let what's opening come in without guilt, without over explaining, without immediately bracing for it to disappear? There's also a stewardship message here. If a door opens, take what is yours, use it wisely, and don't let fear convince you that you have to grab everything at once. This is sustainable blessing, not panic accumulation. So, as the first card, this tells me the reading begins at a point of release. A seal is breaking, a door is opening, and the real lesson may be learning how to accept what has already been preparing its way toward you. Okay, and this second card is Blind Gate. And wow, this deepens the message in a really important way. Because if Open Vault says something is becoming available, Blind Gate says you may not get to approach that opening with your usual strategy. This is a threshold card too. But it's a very different kind of threshold. It's the moment where you cannot think, plan, or control your way forward in the old way. Something here requires trust, honesty, and a willingness to move without having every outcome guaranteed in advance. For some of you, this feels like the old map is no longer working. A plan may be faltering, or a certainty you relied on may be thinning out. But I don't actually feel this as punishment. I feel it as initiation. Like life is asking very quietly, who are you when the script runs out? And that matters next to Open Vault because it tells me the blessing may be real, but you may have to release an old identity, an old fear response, or an old need for proof before you can fully receive it. You can't carry every defense mechanism through this gate. So this card says, don't force clarity too soon. Don't perform certainty. Bring what is true and let that be enough. The way forward may not be fully visible yet, but it is opening. All right, and now we have Ocean for the third card, and honestly, this feels like the emotional truth sitting underneath the first two cards. Because if Open Vault is the blessing opening, and Blind Gate is the threshold you have to cross differently, Ocean says this is bigger than a practical shift. This is something moving through your inner world too. Old feelings, old longings, old grief, old patterns. They may be rising here, not to drown you, but to be acknowledged as part of the transition. What I'm getting very strongly is that some of you are not just receiving an opportunity. You are also being asked to feel what it means to no longer live in the old scarcity, the old waiting, the old survival identity. And that can be surprisingly emotional. Sometimes when life begins to open, the first thing that comes up is everything you had to suppress to get here. Ocean says, don't reduce this moment to logistics alone. Yes, something may be opening in the outer world, but inwardly there is a tide of truth asking to be felt. You may be grieving who you had to be. You may be realizing what keeps returning because it was never fully processed. You may be sensing that your intuition already knows more than your mind wants to admit. So the guidance here is don't fight the tide. Don't ask for a perfect map. Let yourself listen. Let yourself feel. Because this card says the transformation becomes real when it reaches the heart, not just the plan. So just to pause and gather this together, what we have so far is a really powerful progression. Open Vault says something is ready to be released to you. Blind Gate says you can't meet that opening through old control patterns. You have to cross differently. And Ocean tells us this is not only an external shift, but an emotional and spiritual one too. Something deep is moving as you step out of survival and into receiving. So where we're going next is very important. We're going to look at what helps this opening hold and what needs to be named or protected so this change can actually last. Alright, and this fourth card is Closed Hand, and this is exactly the kind of grounding card I was hoping to see after Ocean, because now the reading gets very clear. Yes, something is opening. Yes, you're crossing a threshold. Yes, there's deep emotional movement here. But Closed Hand says that for this change to actually hold, you need boundaries, restraint, and discernment. This is not the moment to give everything away just because something good is finally arriving. It's not the moment to over-explain, over-promise, over-share, or let other people have immediate access to what is still becoming sacred in your life. Some of you are learning that receiving well also means protecting what you receive. And I want to say this very gently. If you've lived in survival mode, you may have learned to keep yourself safe either by clenching too tightly or by giving too much too quickly. This card asks for a new relationship with holding. Not fear, not hoarding, but wise containment. So the message here is keep some things private while they take root. Let trust be earned. Let your no make your yes more meaningful. What is opening for you now needs protection, not because it is weak, but because it is valuable. Alright, and this fifth card is Spring Flowers, and honestly, this feels like the answer to the whole spread, because after Open Vault, Blind Gate, Ocean, and Closed Hand, this card says, yes, this change is meant to lead somewhere softer, brighter, and more alive. This is the bloom after the threshold. This is what becomes possible when you receive what's opening. Move through the uncertainty honestly, feel what needs to be felt, and protect what is still taking root. Spring Flowers is renewal, but not the kind you force. It's the kind that happens when winter has actually done its work. So for many of you, this says the next chapter may begin in small but unmistakable ways. More warmth, more colour, more hope, more energy, more willingness to participate in life again. And I really want to emphasise this. This card says don't just preserve the blessing, live it. Don't keep waiting for the perfect moment to enjoy what's arriving. Don't hold joy at arm's length because you're afraid it won't last. Let it move. Let it be used. Let it change you. There may also be a message here about sharing in healthy ways, offering kindness, creativity, affection, or gratitude once something in you has stabilized, not from depletion, but from overflow. So, as the final card, Spring Flowers says this opening is not only about survival improving, it's about your heart remembering how to bloom again. It was a pleasure doing this reading for you. Please subscribe for more readings.